Hello, as I said, I'm Alice. I'm married to John, who's over there on sound. And as I said before, we live in Malton, which is a small town halfway between here and the Yorkshire coast. So as I said, I run a dog walking business called AW Walkies, which you can find on Facebook. And I walk dogs of all sizes and temperaments, and unfortunately including those who like to roll around in fox poo. So I'd love to share with you today my testimony based on Matthew 11, 28 to 30. So it's, come to me, all of you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. So this verse talks about taking time out to listen to the Lord and discover what he has to say to us. We have all at some point experienced moments where we felt overwhelmed, panicked, or simply just unsure of what decision to make. And this can be related to a job, friendship, or relationship, or anything else happening in our lives. Through this verse, the Lord wants us to stop and give all our burdens to him. I was first introduced to this verse back in 2011 at a youth event in Acomb, York. At the time, I was attending Clifton Parish Church, which is a lower Anglican church within York, and volunteering with their youth group. The verse mentioned above was printed out on pieces of paper, and everyone was encouraged to spend some time praying and listening to God, then write down what we hear. It has been my go-to verse ever since. In 2011, it helped me decide not to take up a particular job at the time, but that opportunity would become available in the following year, and sure enough, it did. Whenever I faced a crisis, I always pray with these verses and listen to what the Lord is saying to me. It has helped me deal with a broad range of circumstances, and lately it's helped me to develop my dog walking business. So I started dog walking in 2020, but how it began started in 2019. So 2019 was a year of big changes. So there were some positive changes like getting married, but there was also some challenging ones like changes in my work circumstances outside my second job at the York Theatre Royal. Basically, my non-theatre work life gradually began to shut down. In February, a job that I loved and had for 6 years shut down due to departmental closure. In June, I left another employment due to receiving low wages and being made to feel undervalued. In July, my time in a call centre unfortunately came to an end due to the job not being right for me. All I wanted was either a full or part-time job that had guaranteed daytime hours, with the bonus being over the weekdays. And I already had my usher job at the Theatre World that I loved. I mainly worked it over evenings and weekends. I just wanted something simple to do during the daytime and was getting frustrated that I couldn't find anything. Later in November, my husband and I began to talk about possibly moving from York to Malton. We then decided to go ahead and spent the next 3 to 4 months getting our new home ready. We moved to Malton on Saturday, 7th of March 2020, along with our pet guinea pigs. And 2 weeks later, the UK went into lockdown. With being on furlough, my focus turned towards decorating the house and reigniting my interest for dogs. I'd always loved dogs since I was a child. Although we never had one, I used to love identifying the different breeds. However, there were times when I was wary of them due to being growled at unnecessarily. But I've since learned through education from my mum and dog trainers, including Graham Hall, who presents the TV show Dogs Behave Very Badly on Channel 5, that those dogs had owners who weren't taking full control of them. My confidence in dogs soon restored, and I've seen the benefits to bring if you're experiencing mental health issues. As lockdown continued, I gradually developed a longing to walk dogs. I became very aware that the purchase of puppies had skyrocketed over lockdown, and therefore the prices went up too. I knew that us owning a dog back then wasn't an option, but I did really want to walk one. When restrictions lifted slightly, I made a bold move by asking on the local social media pages if anyone needed their dogs walking, and that was how it started. I got 2 border terriers named Ralph and Salty, and Yes, I started to walk them. Later, between lockdowns, I obtained a dog walking insurance and networked with other dog walkers in the local area. Afterwards, I got 2 more dogs, and all 4 maintained throughout the year. Later in 2021, after I'd been doing some dog walking for a few months, I became indecisive about whether or not to pursue it as a business due to a fear of failing. The last business venture I launched in 2016 had failed within 6 months, so it was no wonder I felt anxious about pursuing another one. I prayed over Matthew 11:28-30, and I felt the Lord encourage me to go forth with my business and that he would provide more dogs at the right time. I then went on a dog walking course, and I launched my business a few weeks later. Throughout the rest of the year, the Lord did provide more dogs gradually over time, and I now have 16 dogs whom I work with on a regular basis, but not all together. I've been running my business properly now for 7 months, and it's grown well. Since launching my business, I've constructed my own codes of practice on how I work by following all legislations, including the collar and tag, on not feeding a dog a main meal straight after exercise, as it causes bloating, which will make them feel ill. With running a dog walking business, there's more to it than just walking the dogs. It takes responsibility, reliability, flexibility, and above all, being trustworthy. Attributes that I've developed over the years, especially when working with children and vulnerable adults, as they all have the safeguarding regulations in common. These regulations do stretch into my dog walking business, as I'm providing a trustworthy service to my clients, knowing that their dog is going to be safe whilst in my care. It's no wonder why many dog walkers were once teachers / carers, etc., as they already have the attributes built into them before launching their businesses. How do we feel when we're unsure of what to do and when our stomachs are tied up in knots? Do we keep the situation to ourselves? Do we talk to family and friends? Or do we talk to God? For somebody like me who battles with anxiety on a regular basis, struggles with expressing emotions, and can have low self-esteem, this verse helps to bring me back down to earth and relax, and more importantly, listen. The more I listen to the Lord, the more settled I feel, and the more encouraged I am to follow his calling. How much time do you spend listening to God? If you want to copy the method I use, then just write down Matthew 11:28-30 in the center on a blank sheet of paper. Play some worship music, then make yourself comfortable, relax, listen, and write down what the Lord is saying to you. For me, if I know what I've listened to has come from God, when I'm usually feeling both relaxed and settled with a clear head. When I'm praying over that verse, I usually write my answers around it in like a spider diagram, but you don't have to do that. You can write down your answers in lists or whatever works for you. I'm going to hand over to Luke now, and we're going to have a go at trying that method.
Thanks, Alice.